Yeah, well, we cover the whole of the south of England, so London and the south of England is the area that we cover in terms of broadcasting on DAB radio, and obviously everywhere in the world on the internet, and it's about 50,000 people a week listen to us.
Wow. So Passion of the Planet's been going how long?
4 years.
4 years, okay. Brilliant.
So yeah, so it's kind of moving in the right direction, you know, there's getting more listeners, getting more feedback. I think I feel from the feedback that we're getting from people who are listening to us that actually it's beginning to make a difference. They're beginning to be introduced to new ideas. They're beginning to sort of go, actually, yeah, kind of, you know, this is good. I mean, clearly, people who listen to us will be open-minded anyway. Yeah. If you're not open-minded, you're not going to be listening to us in the first place. But it's just nice that people are feeding back and saying, actually, that was really useful, or that was really interesting, or God, every time I listen to you, I learn something new. Yeah. And obviously, that's what it's all about. Yeah, you know.
Exactly. Brilliant.
Yeah, so that's kind of what's happening. So yes, I think a piece about passion and the difference it's making, yes, and what a fabulous listen it is would be a wonderful idea.
There you go, you said it all. And you've got your mascara on.
Exactly, so I feel happy now. So tell me, from interview point of view, obviously we're going to focus on the new book, and I know we've talked about some of the stuff you've done before.
Yeah.
Are there particular aspects that that are sensible to focus on? Bear in mind, obviously, it's quite a big book, so we can't talk about everything.
Yeah, I mean, there's the aspect of it that is what you might call the sort of science of sort of new agey topics, like you know, psychic abilities, distant healing, mediumship, channeling, because that's one of the purposes behind the book, to actually say, well, yeah, there is a bona fide science behind that.
Okay.
So as you can see, it's in several parts. I don't know if you've had a chance to read it.
I've had a flick through, yeah.
Yeah. Part 4, which is called the black hole principle, is what I found completely by surprise. I wasn't expecting to find it. That's completely new science. It's taking the evidence of astrophysics, and what it is I was looking at the data and it just all fitted together, and the more that I realised that there was this different way of putting together a framework that the astrophysicists hadn't thought of, and the more I realised there was more evidence behind me than there is behind what they're actually talking about.
And so this is the evidence that backs up these kind of new age areas like psychic abilities?
No, this is actually totally going into a new area now. So this, as far as you probably can find elements in other books like the Tao of Physics, what brings that sort of thing. The black hole principle is completely new.
Right.
And that's actually what is...
And what does the black hole principle say?
The black hole principle is actually about the way that black holes work is actually not destructive at all, it's creative. So they are responsible for creating the galaxies. So that's the first thing, and all the evidence that goes for that. So a black hole is bad because it's actually, most of it is beyond the speed of light, and most of it is in the higher dimensions. And what's happening in a black hole is actually coming in between dimensions into our dimension, and as soon as it does that, you get this explosion of electrons, and that's what you actually see coming out of a black hole. So that's, you know, at a level of a supermassive black hole in a galaxy, that's what's going on. But actually, if you look all throughout the levels of reality to an atom, they're behaving exactly the same way. Okay, so the atom, if you think about it, what radioactivity is about, is giving off alpha radiation, and there's equivalent of that, which you know, goes into it in the book. But also, if you put it simply, what happens in radiation is beta and gamma radiation, just the same as what happens out of a black hole. So once I got that insight, then I realised that there's evidence for black hole principle going throughout every level of reality. So it isn't a big bang that happened 15 billion years ago that just, you know, created everything. Everything is actually created all the time. You know, so, and there's more evidence behind that than there is Big Bang. So that's what's so different. And Big Bang, I don't know if you know, has been really dropped. It's really sort of questioned by our society now.
Manjir, here you go.
Huh?
Oh. Cheers.
So it's you know, a bit becoming controversial because the things that we would expect from if Big Bang were true, just are not what we're observing with the telescopes that we've got now. So what we're in between this quandary, we're in between the, you know, what we used to think, how we used to think the universe worked, and what the evidence we're actually finding. And people are kind of sort of saying, you know, wait a second, this can't be right. Why do we find a black hole in every single galaxy when black holes are supposed to be destructive? But what they're not doing is making that conceptual leap to thinking, well, black holes must be created then. You know, and that's what I've done in the book. Because I'm not a physicist, I've got the restraints, you know, through those sorts of restraints of academia, getting the research funding and everything like that. So knowing that it wouldn't actually get it accepted in academic, you know, publication as such, I've been going around the public and taking it to public first and after lectures, and then publishing it, which is what's called punk science, because it's actually coming out of the establishment, you know, not coming from the establishment voice, and you know, putting it in there, taking it straight into easy to understand language so the public can get it, and taking it in. So
okay, let's concentrate then on the black hole principle,
Okay.
because so we have in previous interviews talked about the science behind the New Age stuff.
Yes.
So that this is the new
new
interesting
stuff.
bit.
Yeah.
So we concentrate on the black hole principle. We can talk about a little bit about so what it is. As in other words, the theory, the evidence for that, even if it's just kind of conceptually, but nevertheless the evidence that we have for that, and then the implications of that.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
That should pretty much cover it. Oh, as you know, we'll kind of play a little bit by ear how we go along and see how we go.
Yeah.
Okay?
Okay. Do you want to do that now?
Yep, let's go straight through and do that. You can leave your stuff here if you want to, but you can bring in your drink or whatever you want. Come in and grab a seat. Okay, you comfy there?
Yeah.
Let's set you up. Because you know, it's the same sort of principle as before, so it's pre-recorded, so if you get stuck or make a horrible mistake, then you can just stop.
Okay.
Go pause, go back to the beginning of that sentence, pick up, and we'll carry on, not a problem. It's about 5 minutes in total.
Right.
So same sort of things you've done before, basically. Question and answer. And what I'll do at the beginning is if you can give me your name of the book and the publisher.
I'm Dr. Manjir, Samanta-Laughton. The name of the book is Punk Science, and it's published by O Books.
Okay, I'll do the trick. Brilliant. I can hear myself. Good. You ready for this then?
Yeah.
Okay. One of the things you talk about in your book is the black hole principle. What exactly is that?
Well, that's actually a new and radical theory of everything, which says that the way in which a black hole works and the sort of ideas I put forward in the book are completely different to how we thought of black holes before. Is actually the way that everything works. So black holes were previously thought of very destructive objects in in science fiction that sort of gobble up people in spaceships that go too close to it. But the evidence is that black holes are actually something rather different, that they actually are part of creating galaxies, not destroying them.
And how would a black hole go about creating a galaxy?
Well, okay, what we're actually seeing in neighbouring galaxies is that a black hole is at the centre of each and every neighbouring galaxy. So we're starting to think that, okay, this is not an accident. There's something about black holes which is essential to galactic formation, and there's even special geometries about how the size of a black hole related to how big that galaxy is. So there's obviously some sort of relation. What I've done in my book is actually suggested that black holes are actually black because they're actually not seen by us. They're actually beyond our consciousness. So if we think of the universe as fundamentally consciousness, which is a big movement in physics at the moment, the big sort of what the Bleak film and things like that have mentioned this, that everything is fundamentally consciousness, then black holes aren't black at all. They're actually very, very bright. So what's happening is light is actually in higher dimensions and is beyond our perception, what I call beyond the perception horizon, and it actually comes from the higher dimensions through all these dimensions into our dimension, and as it does so, it ejects super fast electrons. So what we see coming out of the galactic centre are very, very fast electrons, and it's actually part of the creation principle of a part of the creation principle of a black hole.
Okay, that kind of makes sense, but actually what does it mean? As in, why does it matter?
Why does it matter? Okay, it's going to completely turn the way we think of the cosmos on its head. At the moment we think that the universe was created by one big bang that everything's spread out from there, and the party's over with, that everything's been created. That's not actually what we see happening out there. If that were true, the further that we looked out in space, the younger the stars would be. And actually what we see is space is pretty much the same wherever we look. So Big Bang is really coming into question now. And the other thing that's happened is the WMAP data. That is a microwave background radiation that people have been seeing since the 50s and 60s as the evidence for the Big Bang itself. This actually fits the black hole creation principle, because it's all clumped together around our solar system. If Big Bang were true, it would all be spread out more evenly. If black hole principle is true, it would be, because microwaves are coming out of black holes as well, that's part of their creation principle, they would be clumped together around the solar system. That's what we'd expect, and that's what we do indeed see.
Now, from a personal point of view, kind of living my life on a day-to-day basis, is this actually going to make a difference to me? Was there anything I can learn from it?
Well, actually, it's not just about the cosmos in its entirety. The principle that's behind the black hole actually is exactly the same as what happens at the level of an atom. And also, have you heard of something called chakras, the centre of the body? The creation principle that happens in a galaxy also happens throughout every level of reality. And there are some Italian physicists that are saying this now, that reality is actually a fractal, which means that it's the same pattern throughout all of reality. So the black hole principle is going on inside of you all the time. You're filled with black holes. So it's very, very much personal to you as well. So not only are your atoms black holes, and your black holes all the way down, your chakras are also, what creates your body is actually using the black hole principle. And in the book I outline all the evidence for this.
So essentially, if I think of my chakras or as a black hole as something that's, rather than sucking stuff in, it's kind of pushing stuff out,
Yes.
that's an easy way to grasp it.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's a way to actually understand things like that we never understood before, like auras. The way that I've outlined in the book is that auras are actually the antimatter region that surrounds us, just the same as you get an antimatter region around the centre of a galaxy.
And how do you think that, should this principle be taken on board, how do you think that's going to change A, our understanding of science and physics in general, and B, kind of the way we lead our lives?
Well, it's interesting because after I actually published in a medical paper the outline of the black hole principle, I did find that there were several teams around the world that were also working on it and about to publish. So, you always know that when this sort of thing is happening in science, that people are tuning into the same thing. There's about to be a next step and a next big revolution. One of the things about it is it's going to firmly put consciousness back into science, because at the moment science is very devoid of any feeling or emotions or consciousness, and it's an essential part of the black hole principle to understand it. So that's one of the things. But also, we've been living with this Big Bang story for quite a long time now. If that's turned on its head, we'll also realise that creation didn't just happen 15 billion years ago. Creation is happening all the time. We haven't missed the party. It's still going on. Creativity is very much part of our lives.
Good. That was very concise and clear. Thank you. That's what we like. Okay, all done.
All right, brilliant.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.